The last time an unranked Auburn team beat a ranked Alabama team was November 23rd, 2002. It's been 19 years since this happened, and there's a chance that Auburn could win today.
So you're telling me there's a chance? Yeah!
Just not a very good chance. Like I said, in today's Iron Bowl versus Alabama, Auburn has to overcome a lot in order to win this game. So the likelihood of that happening is very small. But let's go through a few things that Auburn would have to do to win this game. Auburn will be playing against a passing offense from Alabama that is currently ranked number 8. So number 8 in the nation. The secondary and linebackers and everybody back there is going to have to play perfect against this team. So far, the only team that Auburn has played that was better than Alabama in the passing offense was Mississippi State. And we saw how that went with the 40 unanswered points that ultimately led to Auburn losing. So our pass defense is going to have to be near perfect, and it seems like Alabama is really getting better and better at their passing game going into the towards the end of the season. The next thing Auburn has to do is that our passing game has to be on point. We're going into TJ Finley's second game as a starter. He lost starter for Auburn. He lost his first game as a starter for Auburn last week versus South Carolina. He's got a chance to redeem himself. Unfortunately, it's a tough game against a very good Alabama team who's currently ranked number 3. But the good news for TJ Finley is that Kobe Hudson should be back in the game. So he'll have an offensive weapon back in the game who was just prolific versus some teams earlier in the season. He went out versus Mississippi State with a non-targeting call, but he should be back and is expected to be back versus Alabama. That being said, TJ Finley, I think for us to win, the receivers have to stop dropping balls, and he needs to have a completion percentage probably north of 60% for us to have a better shot at keeping this game close. As far as our rushing attack goes, we've also got an uphill battle. Alabama is currently ranked number 5 in the nation in rush defense. They're currently allowing 85.9 yards per game. Auburn is going to have to go well north of 100 in rushing yards to be able to keep up with Alabama, and that is going to be a tough thing to do. As far as teams that have been better at rushing defense that Auburn has played so far, the only team better is Georgia, who's currently at number 2 in rush defense. On the flip side of that, Alabama's rushing attack is not as good as it has been in the past, and Auburn's rushing defense has been stellar. So I do expect that we will be able to stop the run pretty well. Bad news is that Alabama is so good on the passing side of things that we are going to have a very hard time stopping the pass. As far as other factors in this game, a big factor is going to be what's the play calling like for Auburn. We've seen some very questionable calls. I'm not trying to be coach, but at the same time, when you've got somebody like Tank Bigsby who is having the game of his life and you don't let him run the ball on 4th and 1, I've got some questions about decision making. So those kind of things, the kind of obvious calls, if Tank is just eating up yards, feed him the ball. Don't stop him. But we'll have to see what happens and what kind of situations we get in. So play calling is something I want to keep an eye on and see how it goes, because it is an area of concern based on what we saw in previous weeks. Going back to our rushing offense, Tank Bigsby is the number 5 running back in the SEC. So I do expect him to get a lot of opportunities to carry the ball. The question is, can he get past this very good Alabama defense, Alabama defense that can stop the rushing attack very well? That's really going to be a question of how well does our O-line play. If our offensive line can open up some good holes for him and he can get through, then he will get a lot of yardage. But based on what we've seen so far this season, our offensive line is not terrible, but when we're going against a defense that is this good against the rush, I do have some concerns about how well we will play. People also forget sometimes about our backup, Jarquez Hunter. He is currently ranked number 12 in the nation for yards per carry. So I do expect he'll get some touches as well. Once again, we're facing a very good Alabama defense on the rushing side of things, so we'll see how many touches he gets. I do expect that the coaches will try to open up the run game by establishing the pass early on. As long as TJ Finley is accurate and our receivers are not dropping the ball, that will make things easier for Tank and Jarquez. Now it's time for me to make my final prediction for this game, and I think it's ultimately going to depend on which Alabama team shows up. If the Alabama team shows up that played Mississippi State, we're doomed. We don't stand a chance. But if the Alabama team shows up that played LSU, I think we've got a pretty good shot at keeping it close at the very least. I don't know about winning it, but we could keep it close. Ultimately, I think we are going to lose. Alabama is going to win this one. As far as a score prediction, I'm expecting this one to be about 35 to maybe 24. I am giving us one field goal. One of our backups, I think, will make a field goal this game. But I do expect Alabama to beat us by at least 2 touchdowns, possibly 3. I expect it to be a tough loss at time, I expect it to be a tough watch at times. But I think our guys will learn a lot from this game. Keep in mind, we're without Bo Nix. We are without Anders Carlson. And so this will be a game where we've got a lot we can show. We can grow from this game, but expecting us to pull out a win it's going to be a tall ask. Is it impossible? No, it is not impossible. We've seen crazier things happen, but it has been a long time since we've seen an unranked Auburn beat a ranked Alabama. However, Alabama has already lost to an unranked team this season. But if you go to motivation for this game, who's going to be more motivated coming into it? Is an Auburn team that's deflated coming off of several losses going to be more motivated to win, or is a team that is fighting to be in the playoffs going to be more motivated? That they know if they lose this game, they don't have a chance, but if they win it, more than likely they still have a good chance to be in it, even if they lose to Georgia in the SEC championship. That's a lot on the line for Alabama, and I just don't know that Auburn can overcome that kind of motivation. We'll see what happens today, but I think the more motivated team is going to win, and the question is, who's got more motivation? If you saw that press conference or that interview with Nick Saban, he did say you don't want to write off a team that has been embarrassed, because ultimately everybody does want to win, and I think Auburn, I think the team, the coaches, I think everybody wants to win this game. I'm not saying they're not motivated. I'm saying they have less on the line. Unless you look at it from the viewpoint of these coaches might feel like their reputation is on the line at the very least. And so there is a lot on the line for them. Like I said, ultimately, I don't know that Auburn's going to pull it out, but there is a chance. I hope you enjoyed watching this one. Let me know your score prediction down in the comments below. And come back to this video after the game or during the game, during halftime, and let me know if my score prediction's holding up or if I'm way off. I hope I am way off and that's somehow Auburn pulls this one out. That would be great. That's what I want to happen. It's not what I'm expecting to happen, but it is absolutely what I want to happen. Thanks for watching, and War Eagle.
So you're telling me there's a chance?